chosen one. Heaven took notice. You thought your obedience went unseen, those moments when no one was watching, when your hands trembled but still you said, "Yes, Lord." The unseen was never unseen by heaven. The nights you whispered prayers with no reply, the mornings you rose though weary, the hours you served with no applause, they were all written down in heaven's hidden archive. Every surrender was sacred ink, every tear was a seed planted in eternity. God saw it all. Listen closely now, the silence was not abandonment, it was observation. The Father was watching not to punish, but to measure the weight of your obedience. Angels were dispatched, not to deliver ease, but to record loyalty. You stood when others fled. You trusted when logic mocked you. You stayed faithful when it would have been easier to disappear. That's why this moment is not coincidence, it is divine recognition. Heaven moves because you obeyed. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are the one who said yes when everything screamed no. Heaven saw that. You are standing now in the light of divine remembrance. The same God who hid you is now revealing you. The same hands that withheld are now releasing. Every delay, every silence, every hidden season was heaven's classroom. And today the lesson is revealed. Obedience always unlocks revelation. Feel this truth rise within you. You didn't lose time. You were being aligned. You weren't overlooked. You were being observed. You weren't being punished. You were being purified. God watched how you handled being unseen. You passed the test. Few survived the test of obedience in obscurity. The world didn't clap for you, but heaven did. Now the voice of the Lord speaks with authority because you obeyed when it hurt. I am about to show you what others begged to see. Because you trusted my silence, I will now trust you with my secrets. There's a reason this message found you right now. Heaven pressed pause on everything around you because this is your moment of unveiling. You thought obedience cost you everything, friends, comfort, stability. But heaven whispers you didn't lose. You sowed. Every no you spoke to temptation became a yes that shook the unseen. Every sacrifice whispered into silence now echoes in eternity. Heaven doesn't forget what cost you something. And now, divine exchange begins. God saw you obey when you could have rebelled, when you could have taken shortcuts, when you could have chosen the easy road. Instead, you carried your cross quietly. And the Lord says, the waiting season is ending. The reward season begins. Chosen one. Listen, this is not a random scroll of word, and this is divine recognition. Heaven's ledger is balanced, and your name is written beside faithful. Don't let doubt drown that truth. You may feel unqualified, but obedience is the only qualification heaven requires. You are not here by chance, you are being summoned. Now, let this word breathe in your spirit. Heaven is not slow. Heaven is precise. The delay was not denial, it was divine design. You were being refined for the weight of what's coming. God cannot release revelation to those who haven't learned obedience. But you, yes. You stayed. You obeyed. You waited. You trusted. And now the scroll opens. Heaven leans forward. The angels bear witness. The Father smiles. He says, now, tell them I saw, as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 16. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. So, beloved, if this word burns in your heart, act on it. Like, share, and subscribe not for applause, but as a declaration, heaven saw me and I will shine. Comment 777 below as your prophetic act of agreement. Heaven is watching again, and this time, it's to reward you. Heaven stirs when the obedient respond. Every click, Every word typed in faith becomes incense before the throne. This is more than engagement, it's agreement. Angels mark those who publicly align with light. You aren't performing, you're proclaiming. Your obedience still speaks, echoing through realms unseen, declaring, I belong to heaven. When you type that number, you're not following a trend, you're fulfilling prophecy. It's a symbol of completion, of divine cycles closing. You are stepping into a covenant moment where obedience meets manifestation. The Father notes your response, not for vanity, but for verification. You heard, you believed, and you acted. Let this moment seal something eternal within you. You are not scrolling anymore, you are standing in sacred territory. Heaven is opening records, recording your faith in real time. The same God who saw your private obedience now witnesses your public declaration. You are seen, chosen, remembered, rewarded. You stand now in the space where heaven begins to unveil what was once sealed. The scroll of your obedience has been opened, and divine ink starts to speak. The things that were once hidden from your understanding now shimmer with clarity. You can feel it, something ancient is being read aloud over your life. God begins to tell you everything. Not everything about the world, but everything about you, who you are, why you were chosen, and what is about to unfold. The Spirit whispers, you have been faithful in the shadows, now I reveal the reasons. The quiet seasons were not punishment, they were protection. You were hidden so the wrong eyes could not find you. You were silenced so your words would not be wasted. You were delayed so your destiny could arrive in the fullness of divine timing. Every unanswered prayer was a line written in the book of Revelation that now turns to your page. Listen carefully. Heaven does not waste words. When the Father speaks, he is not simply informing, he is transforming. Revelation is the language of transformation. What God reveals, he intends to change. That's why obedience was the gateway. Without obedience, revelation destroys. But you are ready now because your heart has been purified by surrender. The secrets that once would have overwhelmed you will now empower you. He begins to show you the pattern behind the pain. Each closed door was not rejection, but redirection. Each delay was not divine forgetfulness, but careful choreography. God is a master strategist, and now he unveils his blueprint. You will begin to see how each wilderness moment shaped your discernment, how each heartbreak softened your compassion, how each disappointment purified your motives. The Father says, I am not revealing this to flatter you, but to prepare you. The mysteries I show you now are the foundations of your assignment. The hidden scroll is not a diary of your suffering, but a map to your calling. What you walked through is now what you will walk others through. Your wounds will become language. Your scars will become sermons. Your silence will become sound. You will notice that the Holy Spirit begins to interpret even your past thoughts. The questions that haunted you. Why did this happen? Why was I alone? Why did they leave suddenly align like pieces of a divine mosaic? It's as if heaven whispers, look again. And when you look again, what once looked like ruin now looks like foundation. What once looked like loss now looks like preparation. The Lord shows you that the years of quiet obedience were years of calibration. He was adjusting your internal compass to point true north, to discern his direction even when the world spun in chaos. You were not idle, you were being tuned. Every silent year has been a sacred rehearsal for this moment of revelation. Now the veil lifts. The Father says, you thought I was silent, but I was speaking through circumstance. You thought I was absent, but I was nearer than breath. Every delay carried my fingerprints, every tear held instruction. And you understand that revelation is not information, it is invitation. God is not just telling you something. He is inviting you into partnership with His purpose. You begin to see how heaven's narrative has always been written around your obedience. What you called small acts were divine transactions. When you forgave, heaven recorded it as authority. When you kept serving, heaven marked it as promotion. When you stayed quiet instead of defending yourself, heaven documented it as maturity. Every hidden yes became a key to the next revelation. This unveiling is not for pride, but for stewardship. The more you know, the more accountable you become. That is why revelation is sacred. It is trust. God trusts you now because you proved faithful when nothing made sense. And with trust comes access. You will begin to sense divine patterns forming around you, confirmations, alignments, encounters that were impossible before. These are signs that heaven's vault has opened. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 25, verse 14. The secret of the Lord is with those who fear Him, and He will show them His covenant. And now you understand the fear of the Lord that sustained your obedience is the very key unlocking divine secrets. You were chosen to carry what others cannot bear because you chose reverence over rebellion. Heaven saw you obey, and now heaven reveals what only the obedient can see. You begin to sense a stirring in your spirit, a holy restlessness that is not confusion but invitation. Revelation has been received, but now response is required. Heaven never reveals without reason. Every divine whisper expects movement. You are standing in the intersection between knowing and doing, between hearing and obeying again. The same God who saw you obey before now tests whether you will obey again, this time with greater clarity and greater cost. The light of understanding begins to spread through your heart. You see how the patterns of heaven are written through every detail of your life. There are no coincidences here, only divine design. The Spirit speaks again, reminding you that revelation is not a resting place. It is a launching ground. You have been filled not to feel powerful, but to walk in purpose. The secrets heaven just unveiled were never meant to stay secrets. They are blueprints for bold action, yet something in you hesitates. The human heart trembles when destiny demands a step. You feel the weight of obedience again, heavier this time because now you understand the cost. But heaven whispers, "Do not fear the step, fear the stillness." For the obedient know that inactivity in revelation becomes disobedience. When God shows, you move. When heaven speaks, you act. That's how you prove the revelation was received with faith, not curiosity. The Father's voice cuts through hesitation. Do you trust me with what I've shown you? You do. Deep down, you do. You remember how He carried you through obscurity, how He hid you to protect you, how every delay worked for your good. And now, He says, move in what I revealed. Heaven's instruction isn't vague, it's precise. The Spirit brings to your memory specific things you must say, release, forgive, or confront. It may be a project that's been sleeping inside you, a word you've been afraid to speak, a door you've been unwilling to close. But this time, there is no uncertainty. You know what you must do. The revelation has made obedience unmistakable. And still, there's that whisper of fear, the kind that tries to reason with divine commands. You wonder if the timing is right, if the resources are enough, if people will understand. But then the Spirit speaks through peace, saying, if you wait for clarity, you will miss the call. Faith does not wait for perfect conditions, it creates them. That's what obedience does, it moves before everything makes sense. The Lord reveals that obedience at this stage is no longer about proving loyalty, it's about birthing legacy. Your private obedience once preserved your soul. Now your public obedience will shift generations. You are becoming a carrier of revelation to a world drowning in noise. Your yes will open portals of understanding for others who have been waiting for a signal to move. As the apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 2, verse 9, "Eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor have entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for those who love him." This means the revelation you've received is just the beginning. What heaven prepares for the obedient far exceeds imagination. You've only seen the outlines of destiny, not the full masterpiece. So do not fear moving forward. You are stepping into what love prepared long before you were born. Now pause, chosen one, and breathe. Feel heaven watching again, not in judgment but in anticipation. The angels lean close, waiting to see if your next move matches your new revelation. Don't underestimate what your next act of obedience can unlock. It might not just change your story, it might rewrite the story of those connected to you. So here is the moment of divine confirmation, a prophetic act wrapped in simplicity. If your spirit bears witness with this word, if you feel heaven tugging at your heart to respond, then write this in the comments: "I will move." Type it not as a phrase, but as a vow. It is your declaration that hesitation ends tonight. When you write it, heaven records it as consent, your agreement to keep walking in the revelation you've received. Each word typed becomes a key unlocking courage. It's more than engagement, it's alignment. The act itself becomes prophecy fulfilled, because the truth is heaven is still watching the obedient. The scroll of your life continues to unfold, and each new page is written by your decisions. Every small act of obedience you make in faith becomes a sentence in the story of your destiny. The longer you stay still, the longer heaven must wait to write. Move, chosen one, not with fear, but with fire, not with anxiety, but with authority. The one who called you has already gone ahead of you. You don't walk into uncertainty, you walk into prepared places. This is what revelation was meant for, not to inflate your understanding, but to ignite your purpose. Obedience is the ink of heaven, and the page is open. Write your next line boldly. The weight of obedience is unlike any burden the world can understand. To obey when no one sees. To surrender when everything inside you wants to fight. To trust when heaven seems silent. This is the crucible where chosen ones are forged. You know this weight intimately. It presses, refines, and reshapes everything within you. Yet this is the holy pressure that produces divine strength. You were never meant to walk a path of ease. You were designed for endurance. Every time you obeyed, a shift happened in realms unseen. The natural world might not have noticed, but the spirit world trembled. Your yes disrupted the plans of darkness. Your silence disarmed accusation. Your perseverance frustrated the enemy who expected you to quit. The battles that raged inside you were not private, they were prophetic. Every tear you shed watered a seed of victory planted long ago. The Father reminds you now that obedience is the highest form of worship. It is not about rules, it is about relationship. You obey not because you fear punishment, but because you love deeply. And love always manifests as obedience. That is why your devotion mattered even when you felt unseen. Your obedience became the fragrance of love rising to heaven. Sometimes the weight of obedience feels unbearable because it costs you people. You lose connections that cannot walk at your pace. You lose approval from those who misunderstand your calling. But this loss is sacred, it sanctifies your path. Every person who walked away made space for the ones ordained to join you later. The path of obedience is narrow because it cannot carry the crowd. You walk alone not as punishment, but as preparation. There were moments when you wanted to drop the weight, to walk away from what God asked of you. But each time something holy anchored you. It was not stubbornness, it was the Spirit strengthening your will. When others saw weakness, heaven saw worship. The fact that you stayed is evidence of divine empowerment. What you carried was never yours alone to bear. Grace was woven into the load. The Lord shows you how your obedience has created ripple effects far beyond your sight, in ways you'll never fully know. Your faithfulness altered destinies. The prayers you prayed have preserved lives. The decisions you made have redirected generations, and the battles you fought have broken cycles. Obedience is never wasted, it multiplies in silence. Now heaven unveils another layer of truth. Every act of obedience builds spiritual authority. Authority is not granted through titles, but through submission. The reason your words carry weight now is because they were birthed from surrender. Those who disobey may speak loudly, but their voices echo empty. Those who obey quietly speak once, and heaven amplifies it across nations. You are becoming that kind of voice, a voice born from obedience, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 5, verse 33, walk in obedience to all that the Lord your God has commanded you, so that you may live and prosper and prolong your days in the land that you will possess. This verse is more than instruction, it is revelation. It shows that obedience is not loss, it is life. Prosperity in heaven's language is not measured by possessions, but by alignment. The land you are about to possess is not just physical territory, it is spiritual inheritance. Every step of obedience expands your dominion. Now you begin to sense that the weight you carry is transforming. It feels lighter, not because it diminished, but because you grew stronger. What once crushed you now crowns you. The pressure that once felt like punishment now feels like purpose. You understand that obedience does not weaken the chosen, it reveals their true strength. The Spirit whispers, you are not carrying this alone. Angels walk beside you, strengthening your shoulders, ensuring that your steps remain steady. Heaven never demands without empowering. You are learning that the greatest power flows through surrender. To yield is not to lose control, it is to hand control to the one who knows the way. The weight of obedience remains, but it no longer feels like a burden. It feels like belonging. It is the sign that you are trusted with divine responsibility. You no longer ask for lighter loads, you ask for stronger shoulders. That is the transformation obedience brings. It turns weakness into worship, pressure into purpose, surrender into strength, and in that strength, heaven smiles. The Father says, keep walking. The ground beneath your feet is sacred. Every step you take in obedience marks territory for the kingdom. And though few may see it, heaven records it all. Your yes still echoes in eternity. There is a divine recording. Chosen one. Every unseen act, every whispered yes, every secret surrender, none of it has disappeared into the void. Heaven does not forget the weight of your worship. When you obeyed in silence, angels leaned close, writing your story in ink that cannot fade. The world might scroll past your faith, but the throne never does. Each sacrifice became a line in heaven's book. Each hidden prayer was archived in eternity. You have a record not of sin, but of faithfulness. And now that record is being opened. You can feel it. This is not the moment to question your worth. It is the moment to remember that heaven remembers. Imagine this, a library of light, endless and shimmering. In it, shelves hold scrolls written with fire. Some bear names that were once forgotten by men but are eternally known by God. One of those scrolls carries your name. The ink upon it glows with the story of your obedience. It is beautiful beyond words, because it is written not with letters but with love. The Father reads from that scroll now. He does not read your failures, He reads your faith. When they could have quit, they prayed instead. When they could have spoken bitterness, they chose silence. When they could have turned away, they lifted their hands in trust. That is the record heaven honors. There is a reason why this message finds you again. It is to remind you that nothing has been wasted. The tears, the long nights, the quiet faithfulness that no one saw, these were all deposits into the treasury of heaven. The world values recognition. Heaven values remembrance. The unseen acts of obedience are currency in the kingdom. Sometimes obedience feels like casting seeds into dry soil, wondering if they will ever bloom. But heaven is the gardener. He never forgets a single seed. What looked like loss was actually planting. What looked like silence was gestation. The time of visible growth is near, and heaven's book is about to become your testimony. You may wonder, how can I keep giving when I've already given so much? The Spirit answers gently, because giving keeps the record alive. Not only financial giving, but giving of time, love, prayer, forgiveness. Every form of generosity continues your story in heaven's ink. Your life is a living scroll, constantly updated with every selfless act. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry." That means everything written in your heavenly record will manifest in its appointed season. Your obedience has been recorded. Your reward has already been scheduled. Nothing is lost. Now, beloved, as you receive this truth, let it move you to respond from your heart, not out of pressure, but partnership. If these words stir something deep within you, let that resonance become movement. When you like, you are lighting a candle in this digital sanctuary. When you share, you are scattering seed into hearts that need hope. When you subscribe, you are joining a global circle of the obedient, a family united by faith, not by fame. And if you feel led to go beyond that, to donate, to pour back into what has poured into you, do it not as payment, but as participation. You are adding ink to heaven's scroll. Each act of generosity is another line in your story, another testimony heaven will read aloud with joy. Picture it, your small gesture becoming light in someone's darkness, your gift becoming fuel for another's faith. When you give, you're saying, "Let this light go further than me." And heaven responds by multiplying what you release. Because this isn't just about content, it's about calling. You aren't supporting a message, you're strengthening a movement. You're part of heaven's echo, carrying revelation to those who still sit in silence. Each action you take, however small, becomes a bridge connecting hearts to hope. You've already lived obedience in private. Now you can express it in partnership. Heaven smiles on those who sow where they were fed. And this isn't about numbers or wealth, it's about gratitude. Every drop returns as a river. Every seed you give grows into shade for another soul. So, my chosen one, let your heart respond however heaven leads. Continue to live as part of the divine story being written. Keep the ink of obedience flowing through generosity. For in the end, when heaven opens your scroll again, it will not just read what you endured, it will read what you gave. The time of revelation unfolds like dawn after a long night. The horizon glows faintly at first, then light floods the land. You are living that moment now. The quiet obedience of yesterday is turning into visible fulfillment. Heaven begins to unveil what was once hidden, and the answers you longed for start forming around you. You feel it in the air, in the stillness between breaths. Something has shifted. You are standing on the threshold between mystery and manifestation. The fog that covered your steps is lifting, and what once felt uncertain now gleams with purpose. It's as though heaven whispers, "This is the moment you were prepared for." The long silence of testing gives way to the music of revelation. Your waiting has not been in vain. Your patience has produced prophecy. Revelation does not arrive with noise or spectacle. It comes gently, like light touching the edges of a darkened room. The Spirit begins to speak through subtle confirmations, through words you hear, through patterns repeating, through doors that open without effort. You begin to realize that heaven doesn't shout when it speaks to the obedient. It simply reveals. You remember how confusion used to cloud your faith. You asked questions that seemed unanswered. Why was I delayed? Why did it take so long? Now those questions dissolve as understanding blooms. You were not being punished. You were being positioned. The wait was heaven's way of aligning you with timing that never fails. The things that once seemed random were divine rehearsals for this moment. Revelation teaches you to stop asking, "Why me?" and to start declaring, "Send me." For the obedient, revelation is not entertainment, it is enlistment. You are not shown divine mysteries so you can feel special. You are shown them because heaven trusts you to act on them. To whom much is revealed, much is required. There's a shift happening even now. The Spirit breathes across your heart and awakens dormant vision. The dreams that once faded are rekindling. You will begin to see symbols in your sleep, confirmations in conversation, and instructions in ordinary moments. This is not coincidence, this is divine communication. God is speaking in a new frequency because you have learned to listen. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding." That single truth is the foundation of revelation. To receive what heaven shows, you must stop depending on what makes sense. Obedience has already trained your heart. Now trust will train your sight. The revelation you are receiving cannot be processed by logic, it must be embraced by faith. And here is where heaven draws your attention. Revelation is not the end, it's the beginning of a new walk, you are being called to step into what you now understand. The Spirit is showing you visions not to impress you, but to instruct you. Every image, every word, every divine insight is a breadcrumb leading you closer to your assignment. You are being positioned in divine precision. Doors that were locked are unlocking because revelation gives you the key. People you haven't met yet are already being prepared to intersect your path. Situations that once opposed you are turning in your favor because revelation changes the atmosphere. Heaven does not reveal without releasing favor to match it. Now, as this revelation floods your life, pause for a moment. Feel the confirmation stirring inside. This isn't emotion, it's alignment. When heaven speaks, the human spirit trembles, not from fear but from recognition. You are feeling the pulse of divine truth. Your spirit knows it's time. And as an act of faith, as a prophetic declaration that you receive this revelation with a willing heart, write this number in the comments. T8. Not as a ritual, but as revelation. The number 8 represents new beginnings, and the 888 declares that this season multiplies them. When you type it, you're not just engaging, you're testifying that your new cycle has begun. Heaven takes note of such declarations because faith always moves first in small acts. This number becomes your key, your agreement with heaven's timing. It says, "I trust what you're revealing. I'm ready to walk in it." And as you do, the light grows brighter. The dawn becomes day. What was hidden becomes clear. Heaven has seen your endurance. Now it rewards your discernment. What was once concealed is now being revealed, not to satisfy curiosity, but to empower calling. You are stepping into the season where your spirit sees what your eyes once missed. This is your unveiling. The revelation has come. You remember the wilderness, the season where voices fell silent and every step felt like wandering through invisible terrain. That place was never punishment, it was preparation. God did not abandon you there. He recalibrated you. The wilderness stripped away the noise that had buried his whisper, so you could learn the difference between emotion and instruction. It was there, in that sacred loneliness, that your spiritual hearing began to sharpen. You once wondered why God would pull you away from familiar places, people, and rhythms. You thought you were losing everything, but heaven was teaching you to listen again. The wilderness is not about deprivation, it is about divine conversation. When distractions fall silent, revelation grows loud, the Spirit speaks most clearly in quiet places. What you mistook for silence was actually saturation, heaven filling you with wisdom in hidden form. It was necessary. You couldn't hear clearly while surrounded by the echoes of other voices' opinions, expectations, doubts. God knew the only way to train your hearing was to bring you to stillness. The desert became your classroom, and the dust became your altar. You learned to discern the difference between your thoughts and his whisper, between impulse and instruction. The Father reminds you now, I was not far from you there. I was speaking through stillness. Every quiet morning where you felt unseen, every moment you thought your prayers bounced back unanswered, those were the exact moments when heaven leaned close. You did not realize that silence is not God's absence. It is his atmosphere. He hides his voice in stillness so that only those who truly seek can hear. As your spiritual ears were refined, your discernment began to awaken. You started noticing how peace felt different from pleasure, how conviction sounded different from condemnation, how God's timing carried a tone of certainty that fear could never mimic. You learned the subtle language of heaven, where instruction arrives not in noise but in knowing. The wilderness gave you something far greater than comfort, it gave you clarity. When the noise of the world was stripped away, what remained was the steady heartbeat of divine presence. That is why you now sense his direction in ways others cannot comprehend. They may call you overly spiritual, but heaven calls you finely tuned. You are no longer reacting to what you see. You are responding to what you hear. The Spirit of God continues to speak in this quiet rhythm. The same whisper that guided prophets and poets now stirs within you. The wilderness made you compatible with the frequency of heaven. You were not being silenced. You were being synchronized. And now that your spirit resonates with his voice, you will never again mistake absence for distance. Heaven speaks through patterns. The same quiet pull that once led you into solitude will now guide you into assignment. The same stillness that once felt heavy will now feel holy. You will find yourself drawn to pauses, to moments of quiet reflection, because you know now that revelation lives there. The world rushes, but heaven always whispers. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 46, verse 10, "Be still, and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." This was never just a verse, it was a method. Stillness was never meant to paralyze you. It was meant to position you. When you stopped running, you started hearing. And in that stillness, you discovered that knowing God is not about information, it is about intimacy. There's a reason heaven trusts you with clarity now. You earned it through endurance. You stayed when others escaped the silence. You listened when others filled the air with noise. The same discipline that taught you to hear God in the wilderness will guide you in the multitudes. The voice you learn to trust in solitude will soon direct you in public calling. But even as revelation flows, the Lord reminds you to never lose the wilderness posture. Don't let activity replace intimacy. Don't let platforms drown out prayer. The voice you train to hear in hiddenness must remain your compass when the crowd gathers. True prophets never outgrow the desert, they carry it within. So now, when the noise of the world rises, you know what to do. You retreat not in fear, but in wisdom. You find that secret place again, not because you're lost, but because you know that's where His presence lingers. The wilderness taught you that silence is sacred, that stillness is strength, and that hearing God is the greatest privilege of the chosen. The Father speaks one more time. You learned my tone in the shadows so you could carry my word in the light. That is the true purpose of the wilderness, to raise messengers who know the voice of their sender. You walk out of that desert not as one defeated, but as one defined. The quiet season was never a void, it was a vow. And now, every time you hear that gentle whisper, your soul remembers, I met God in the silence, and I will never mistake quiet for absence again. The mantle rests upon you now. It is not something you wear for recognition. It is something you carry for responsibility. This is the moment heaven had been preparing you for while you were hidden in obedience. The mantle does not descend suddenly. It settles gradually, wrapping itself around those proven faithful in obscurity. You did not ask for this weight, but it fits you now because you were shaped for it through surrender. A mantle is more than a symbol. It is a transfer of essence. When God releases one, He is not giving you new clothing. He is giving you new capacity. It is the invisible evidence that heaven trusts you to represent Him. The tests you endured were never random. They were divine measurements of readiness. The wilderness refined your hearing. Obedience purified your heart. And now, authority rests upon your shoulders. You feel it, something in you has shifted. Your words carry weight they didn't before. Your prayers pierce through barriers that once resisted. You sense heaven's backing in even your smallest acts. This is what happens when alignment meets anointing. The same spirit that hovered over chaos now hovers over your calling. You are no longer just surviving revelation. You are stewarding it. The mantle has purpose. It carries heaven's agenda, not human ambition. It is never about status. It is about service. You have been entrusted to stand where few are willing to intercede where others ignore. To speak truth when silence is safer. The mantle demands courage, but it rewards obedience with impact. When Elijah passed his mantle to Elisha, it wasn't just fabric falling, it was fire transferring. You carry that same principle now. The fire that sustained you in hiddenness will now ignite others through you. This mantle turns personal survival into corporate revival. Your private battles were never just for your victory. They were training for collective deliverance, as the prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 19, verse 19. So Elijah went from there and found Elisha, son of Shaphat. He was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen, and he himself was driving the 12th pair. Elijah went up to him and threw his cloak around him. That moment was divine interruption, just as yours is now. You are being interrupted by destiny. What was ordinary yesterday becomes holy today because heaven placed its cloak upon you. You were not chosen for convenience. You were chosen for continuity. The same spirit that moved through generations before you now moves through you. But carrying a mantle also means carrying memory. Never forget where you came from. The cloak of anointing must always rest on the shoulders of gratitude. Every miracle you will see is built upon past mercy. Every word you speak will echo the faithfulness that sustained you in hiddenness. This is why God trusted you with it, because you remember. You'll begin to sense that your environment reacts differently to you now. Atmospheres shift when you enter. Darkness trembles not because of who you are, but because of what you carry. The mantle radiates unseen authority, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself. When you walk in obedience, heaven's signature moves with you. But this mantle is not for display. It calls you to pour out. Every true anointing is a summons to servanthood. You will find yourself drawn to those still wandering, those still weary. Your empathy will deepen. Your discernment will sharpen. Your love will expand. The mantle carries heaven's compassion before it carries heaven's command. There will be moments when the weight feels heavy again. When that happens, remember you were built for it. The same grace that placed the mantle will sustain you beneath it. Heaven never assigns without assistance. Every burden tied to purpose carries hidden strength within it. And so, chosen one, walk forward. The mantle is real. You are clothed not with pride but with purpose, not with ambition but with authority. The unseen fire that once refined you now radiates through you. You have become a torchbearer in a world dimmed by compromise. The Father speaks quietly but firmly. Carry this with care. Do not boast in it. Burn through it. For the mantle is not meant to decorate you, it is meant to consume you until nothing remains but obedience. The mantle has been placed, and now heaven turns your eyes toward those who once watched your wilderness from a distance. They saw your struggle but not your surrender. They witnessed your breaking but not your becoming. Some mocked the silence you endured. Others misread your isolation as failure. But what they could not see was that heaven was shaping a warrior in secret. And now the unveiling begins. Every chosen one walks through this paradox, mocked before magnified, hidden before honored. God allows the watching eyes of your enemies not to humiliate you, but to validate what He is about to do through you. When divine favor rises, it needs contrast to be recognized. That's why He let some witness your lowest moments so they would also witness your resurrection. There is a particular power and vindication that comes without vengeance. Heaven never tells you to fight for reputation. It simply displays redemption. The same mouths that questioned your calling will speak of your transformation. The same hands that pointed in doubt will one day applaud in awe. You won't have to defend yourself. Your destiny will do that for you. You must understand heaven's justice is not loud. It arrives with quiet precision, with moments so perfectly orchestrated that even the most cynical can only whisper, "Surely." God's hand was in this. Those who watched for your downfall will watch your rising. Not because you sought revenge, but because your obedience became your defense. Every humiliation becomes fuel for honor when handled with humility. You never needed to respond to false words or petty attacks. The Father was documenting them, not for retribution, but for revelation. Each misunderstanding built endurance. Each rejection deepened your roots. While others were distracted by noise, heaven was deepening your foundation for visibility. As Jesus Himself declared in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 6, verse 27, "But I say to you who hear, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you." This is not weakness, it is wisdom. When heaven favors you, no accusation can stand. When divine timing unfolds, no human agenda can delay it. What is meant for you will not pass you, even if every voice around you says otherwise. You are walking proof that what God ordains cannot be overturned. And so, the Spirit says, do not look back in bitterness. Look back in revelation. The people who misunderstood you were part of the divine classroom. They taught you not to seek validation from applause, but from alignment. Their rejection clarified your audience, heaven alone. You will soon notice how God turns spectators into witnesses. Those who once doubted your anointing will call you for counsel. The same hearts that dismissed you will ask for your prayers. This is how heaven redeems reputation. It doesn't erase the past. It rewrites the narrative. Your assignment now is not to gloat, but to guide. You carry revelation for the very ones who doubted you. Do not withhold grace. The evidence of true transformation is mercy. When you extend compassion to those who hurt you, you prove that your rise was never about revenge but redemption. You are not returning to prove your worth. You are returning to reveal His glory. You are walking into places where your name was once whispered in mockery, and now it will be spoken with respect. But even then, remember, this is not your doing. This is heaven's response to obedience. The Father whispers, "Let them see, not so you can boast, but so they can believe." You were never meant to be a spectacle of success. You were meant to be a sign of sovereignty. Your rise is not proof of your power, it is proof of His faithfulness. And now, as a prophetic act, as a declaration that you receive this season not with pride but with peace, write these words in the comments: I forgive them. Write it as a seed, not as sentiment. When you declare those words, you release heaven's justice to flow freely. You tell the universe, I am not bound by bitterness. You unlock blessings that offense tried to block. Forgiveness is not weakness, it is warfare. It disarms darkness faster than anger ever could. When you write those words, heaven takes note. It becomes your signature of release. You are saying, I choose freedom over resentment. And as you do, the chains that tied your memory to pain begin to dissolve. The same people who wounded you become witnesses of your healing. This is the mystery of the chosen, the ability to bless what once broke you. Your enemies become evidence that God's mercy endures. Your story becomes a sermon none can deny. You are living proof that obedience outlasts opposition, that grace outgrows gossip, and that love always wins louder than vengeance. Let them see it. Let them see Him through you. The instruction descends from heaven like gentle rain upon thirsty ground. This is the heaven-to-earth moment, the divine download that transforms revelation into direction. God no longer whispers in riddles. He speaks with clarity. You have graduated from waiting to walking. The visions that stirred inside you now demand motion. You feel the atmosphere around you shift, as though unseen hands rearrange the pieces of your life into divine symmetry. God is aligning resources, people, and opportunities with the precision of a master craftsman. What once felt scattered now forms a pattern. The path forward glimmers before you like light reflecting off still water. You realize every past delay was positioning for this perfect moment. The Father begins to speak instruction not in thunder but in rhythm. Build what I showed you. Speak what I placed within you. Love even when logic cannot explain it. You realize heaven's plans are not blueprints on paper, they are melodies in motion. Your obedience is the music that brings them to life. Each step you take becomes a note in a divine symphony written by grace. You are not just walking, you are creating harmony with heaven. Every yes you speak resonates across dimensions. Heaven's will finds its rhythm in your surrender. You have become the bridge where God's intention touches Earth's reality. The divine download isn't only for you, it is through you. You are a vessel of instruction, carrying heaven's heartbeat into human history. Heaven does not release strategy to impress, it releases it to implement. Revelation without action becomes stagnation. That's why this moment is sacred. You are being given keys, and keys are meant to open doors. The Father says, go where I send you. Speak even if your voice shakes. Give even when it stretches you. His instruction is always the road to multiplication. According to what is revealed in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 22. But be doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. This is why generosity matters now more than ever. Not out of duty, but out of delight. When you share this message, you become a tributary of truth, letting hope travel to hearts that have gone dry. A simple share is like throwing a seed into the wind. You never know where it will land. But heaven always knows who needs it. When you breathe affirmation into the digital air. It's like lighting a candle in a world growing dim. When you subscribe, you're joining a river of voices flowing in one direction toward faith, hope, and purpose. And when you choose to donate, you are not just giving to a work, you are watering a garden that has fed your own spirit. Imagine it, every seed you sow becomes a lamp in someone else's night. Your contribution is not currency, it's compassion in motion. Each act of support keeps the flame of revelation alive, ensuring the message travels further than any one voice could carry. The Spirit whispers, "What you pour into this flow, I will multiply beyond your reach." Heaven never forgets generosity. It records every act of giving, not by amount, but by alignment, by how closely your heart mirrors His. You don't give to earn. You give because you've already received. The greatest offerings rise not from abundance, but from gratitude. Think of your support as fuel for a divine vessel sailing through digital seas. Every click, every share, every offering adds wind to its sails, carrying this message to shores you may never see. Somewhere, someone drowning in despair might find breath because you kept this light afloat. That is the power of partnership. You are part of heaven's network now, a web woven not by algorithms but by anointing. The kingdom expands through ordinary obedience, and your small gestures are the threads holding it together. Whether it's a moment of prayer, a gesture of sharing, or a seed sown from the heart, each act keeps heaven's current flowing through earth. Do it not for applause, but for alignment. Give because you sense heaven stirring when you do. Share because you remember the moment a message found you in your wilderness. Support because you know that what sustains one soul today can ignite revival tomorrow. You are not a spectator here, you are a co-builder. Every response from your heart is a stone in the foundation of what God is constructing through this movement. The light you help carry now will shine long after you've moved on, because what is done in obedience never fades. So, chosen one, as this divine instruction rests upon you, move with grace. Let your actions sing what your words cannot. Heaven's blueprint unfolds with every faithful step. You are no longer just a receiver of revelation, you are a builder of it. Walk, give, share, shine, and know that heaven takes notice of every motion of your heart. You find yourself seated at a table that seems older than time itself. It is not a table built by human hands, but one carved out of eternity, set before you by the one who called you. You realize this is not a place for feasting in flesh. It is a place for feeding in spirit. Heaven has invited you to the table of revelation. Few are brought here, for it is reserved for those who have passed through obedience, endured testing, and remained faithful in silence. You look around and sense that this is not just your moment, it is a gathering of the faithful. You feel the presence of others who, like you, obeyed in the dark and trusted through confusion. Their names are not famous, but their faith echoes through heaven. You can almost hear the quiet hum of eternity surrounding you. The murmur of angelic recorders documenting the words being released. The air itself feels alive, heavy with wisdom. At this table, God does not speak in riddles, He speaks in revelation. You begin to understand mysteries that once felt beyond you. The questions that haunted you are now answered not with explanations, but with understanding. You realize that divine revelation is not about information, it is about intimacy. God doesn't reveal facts, He reveals facets of Himself. Every truth He shows you is a mirror reflecting His nature and your purpose. Heaven begins to pour out understanding like wine into your spirit. You see how your story has always been connected to something larger. You were never just a single thread, you were part of a tapestry that heaven has been weaving across generations. Each trial was a stitch, each surrender a knot that anchored the pattern. You finally see the whole, the beauty behind the brokenness, the purpose behind the pain. The Father speaks to you at the table. This is where I feed my friends with secrets. You have not earned this. You have been invited. The currency here is not perfection, but intimacy. Those who sit here are not the proud, but the pliable. You feel His words enter your spirit like warmth. The revelation is simple but profound. He shares His secrets with those who can be trusted not to exploit them. You look again at the table, and you notice there are scrolls upon it glowing softly, as if breathing. Each scroll represents a truth, a divine assignment, a portion of heaven's wisdom waiting to be opened. The Spirit leads your hand to one of them. When you touch it, it unfurls with light. Words begin to rise from it, not written in ink, but formed from living flame. They burn into your spirit, leaving no mark on paper, but engraving themselves on your heart. The Spirit whispered centuries ago, and the words still echo today from the book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse 22. He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in darkness, and light dwells with Him. That verse now burns within you. It reminds you that revelation is not just access, it is awareness. It is the privilege of seeing through heaven's eyes. The one who reveals the deep things also knows how to guide you through them. You do not need to fear what lies ahead, because light lives with Him, and He lives within you. The longer you sit at this table, the more you realize that revelation is endless. Each truth opens into another. You could spend lifetimes here and still not reach the bottom of His wisdom. And yet, He shares enough for you to walk faithfully in the present moment. That is the generosity of heaven. It gives what you need for now, while keeping your heart hungry for more. You lift your eyes and you sense that the table is both around you and within you. Wherever you go, you will carry its essence, the calm, the clarity, the communion. You are now marked as one who has eaten from heaven's table. You will walk differently, speak differently, love differently. Every word that comes from your mouth will taste of revelation because you have dined with truth itself. As you rise, you sense the voice of the Father once more. Carry this table in your spirit. Feed others from what you've received. My secrets are not meant to be stored, they are meant to be served. And so you leave, not empty, but overflowing. The table of revelation remains open in heaven, and every time you return in prayer, you find your seat waiting. Because once heaven trusts a soul with its secrets, it never revokes the invitation. The prophetic confirmation begins to unfold around you like ripples spreading across still water. The revelations heaven whispered in secret are now echoing in the world around you. What was once only a promise in prayer starts to appear as patterns in reality. Conversations confirm what your spirit already knew. Unexpected alignments emerge. You find yourself in the middle of divine evidence, God proving that what He spoke was never imagination, but instruction. The Father smiles through the unfolding of His word. You notice how small details carry His fingerprints. The right message at the right time. The person you meet by accident, the door that opens without effort each moment whispers, "This is me." You don't need to chase confirmation, it arrives naturally, like morning light chasing night away. Heaven always backs what heaven begins. These confirmations are not random, they are heaven's way of anchoring your faith. Each one is a divine yes, a reminder that obedience was not wasted. When you see them, don't just smile, take note, write them down. Each confirmation becomes a stone in your altar of remembrance. One day, when doubt tries to return, these stones will speak louder than fear. The prophetic begins to bloom more vividly. You sense that the words once spoken over your life are starting to breathe. Prophecies that felt dormant now stir again. Dreams return with clarity, carrying instruction. The things that once seemed distant now feel near, tangible, alive. Heaven is moving through both signs and subtlety, proving that its promises were never idle. The Spirit begins to whisper you are living inside fulfilled prophecy. The proof of God's faithfulness is all around you, woven into your ordinary days. It is the kindness in someone's words, the restoration of a lost connection, the quiet confidence that replaces your anxiety. Heaven does not always confirm with thunder, it often confirms with peace. You remember the years when you questioned if you heard God correctly. You doubted your discernment, wondered if hope had deceived you. But now, as things align effortlessly, you realize heaven was never late. It was simply layering confirmations, one upon another, building the foundation of your confidence. And yet, prophetic confirmation is not only for reassurance, it is also for responsibility. When heaven confirms, it expects continuation. The evidence you now see is not the end of the journey, but the beginning of a new phase. Confirmation is heaven's invitation to move boldly without hesitation. The signs do not come to make you comfortable, they come to make you courageous. As the Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 55, verse 11. So shall my word be that goes forth from my mouth. It shall not return to me void, but it shall accomplish what I please, and it shall prosper in the thing for which I sent it. That verse now comes alive before your eyes. You are walking proof that no divine word ever dies. Heaven's promises may rest, but they never rot. Every word God has spoken over your life has an appointed season to bloom, and this is one of those seasons. What seemed forgotten was merely waiting for timing to mature. Now, chosen one, the Spirit says, pay attention. Look around with eyes of discernment. The signs are not coincidences, they are confirmations. Each one is a message wrapped in mercy. When you see repetition, when patterns reappear, when phrases echo in unexpected places, listen. Heaven is emphasizing something. When prophecy repeats, purpose is near. These confirmations are not for pride, but for partnership. They remind you that you are not walking alone. Heaven is walking beside you, guiding you step by step, confirming every stride of faith. You don't need to beg for assurance anymore. The proof is already breathing around you. And now, as a prophetic act, as a declaration that you recognize heaven's confirmation moving in your life, write this number in the comments, 444. Type it as a symbol of agreement. The number 4 represents foundation, and the 444 declares establishment. By writing it, you are saying God's promises are not floating, they are forming. My foundation is being secured. Heaven takes notice of these small prophetic gestures, because faith is measured not by magnitude but by motion. When you declare 444, you are not summoning luck, you are acknowledging alignment. It is your statement that the word sent toward you has taken root, that what was spoken in secret is manifesting in sight. Every time you see that number again, It will serve as a divine reminder heaven's confirmation is ongoing, not concluded. So take heart. The signs around you are not random, they are the rhythm of fulfillment. Heaven is not teasing you with glimpses, it is showing you that the unseen is now visible. You are walking through prophecy realized, standing in the evidence of promises kept. Breathe deeply. Chosen one. You are not waiting for proof anymore, you are living in it. The silence that once guarded you now begins to break. You feel it, the shift from listening to speaking, from receiving to releasing. Heaven has poured its secrets into your spirit, and now it commands your voice to move. The time for hiddenness is over. You were not given revelation to keep it contained. You were entrusted to carry it into a world drowning in noise. But this voice you are about to release is not the same one you had before. It has been tempered in fire, shaped by silence, and refined by surrender. When God first called prophets, He did not hand them microphones, He gave them burdens. A true voice of heaven speaks not from pride, but from pain. You have felt that weight, the ache that comes with knowing truth others are not yet ready to hear. But heaven reminds you, the truth that costs you something carries power. The world does not need more echoes. It needs authentic sound, your sound, born from obedience. You begin to sense that every word you speak now carries eternal consequence. Heaven measures not by eloquence, but by purity. When your motive is right, your voice becomes divine thunder. It shakes atmospheres, even when spoken softly. You are not called to shout over the crowd, you are called to shift it. The power of your voice lies not in volume, but in authority. There was a time when fear silenced you. You held back revelation because you worried what others might think, how they might label or reject you. But heaven has burned that fear away. The same God who taught you to listen now commands you to speak. Silence was once your training. Now it would be your disobedience. What was hidden must now be declared. You remember the countless times you bit your tongue to avoid misunderstanding. Heaven saw that restraint, and it was holy. But now, the Spirit whispers, no more holding back. You have been trained in reverence long enough to know when to speak and when to stay silent. This moment belongs to boldness. You have permission to prophesy, not from arrogance, but from assignment. The words you release now will not return empty. They will pierce hearts, awaken sleepers, and draw souls back to light. You will not always see their effect immediately, but heaven will. Angels are dispatched to carry each phrase to its destination. Some will comfort the broken, others will confront the rebellious, but all will carry the fragrance of heaven. The Spirit begins to reveal that your voice carries healing. The same pain that once silenced you now becomes medicine through your words. Your story, your scars, your survival. They are not embarrassments, they are instruments. When you speak from your journey, others will recognize their own reflection and find hope. That is how heaven heals through human sound, by using wounded voices to restore wounded hearts. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 9. Then the Lord reached out His hand and touched my mouth and said to me, I have put my words in your mouth. Those words echo within you now. You realize that your voice was never truly yours. Every syllable born in surrender carries heaven's fingerprint. You are not improvising, you are interpreting divine intention. The words that rise within you are not mere thoughts. They are seeds from eternity searching for soil. You are stepping into a new rhythm of speaking, one marked by divine timing. Not every truth must be shouted at once. The Spirit will show you when to whisper, when to roar, and when to rest. The same discipline that guarded your silence will now govern your sound. The wise know that power is not in speaking often, but in speaking accurately. When you open your mouth now, entire atmospheres shift. You may not feel the tremor, but heaven registers it. Demons retreat when light-filled words are released. Hope resurrects in the hearts of those who had given up. Even nature listens when heaven's messengers speak. Creation recognizes the voice of the Creator echoed through His chosen ones. You were never meant to stay silent forever. Silence was only the cocoon. Your voice is the butterfly. And like wings unfolding after long confinement, your sound will spread far beyond your reach. You will not need to force its flight. Heaven's wind will carry it. Your obedience to speak will become a ripple that travels across nations, across hearts, across time. So speak, chosen one. Speak from purity, not pride. Speak from revelation, not reaction. Speak because heaven commands it. The words placed within you are not decoration, they are deliverance. Somewhere, someone's destiny depends on the sound of your obedience. You are no longer just a listener of heaven, you are its echo. The separation begins quietly, almost imperceptibly. It's not a rupture of anger, but a refining of alignment. Heaven starts to draw a line between those who obey and those who only observe. You feel it in your spirit, a gentle but undeniable divide forming around you. It's not rejection, it's recognition. God is setting apart the ones who mean what they say, who walk their faith instead of wearing it. You begin to notice how certain conversations no longer resonate. Some relationships fade without conflict. Some opportunities lose their appeal. This isn't loss, it's leading. Heaven is pruning your circle to preserve your calling. You are not being isolated again. You are being identified. Every separation is heaven's way of saying, "You are mine." It hurts, of course. Separation always does. You remember the comfort of familiar company, the ease of blending in. But blending was never your assignment. Light doesn't negotiate with darkness, it simply shines. And now, heaven requires distinction. The same God who hid you to refine you now reveals you to define you. Your obedience distinguishes you not in pride, but in purpose. This moment echoes patterns written throughout Scripture. God always separates before He sent. Before the flood, He separated Noah. Before the promise, He separated Abraham. Before deliverance, He separated Moses. Before revelation, He separated John. Separation is not exile, it is elevation in disguise. Heaven removes the unnecessary so that the necessary can breathe. You begin to understand that divine separation is never punishment, it's precision. The Father doesn't subtract to diminish, He subtracts to strengthen. The pruning of relationships, the quiet endings, the shifting circles, all of it is heaven's strategy for focus. You cannot carry everyone where you are going, and God loves them too much to let you drag them into assignments not meant for them. As the Spirit spoke through Paul in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 17. Therefore, come out from among them and be separate, says the Lord. Touch no unclean thing, and I will receive you. Heaven whispers again, I am not dividing you from people, I am defining you for purpose. You realize that the separation is not outward, it is inward. It's a transformation of desire. What used to tempt you now tires you. What once satisfied you now feels shallow. This is spiritual maturity unfolding not as emotion but as evolution. You are learning that not every believer chooses obedience. Some choose convenience. Some choose comfort. But your soul burns for alignment. You can't tolerate lukewarmness anymore because the fire within you won't allow it. That burning isn't judgment, it's discernment. The Spirit is teaching you to value depth over drama, presence over popularity. Soon, this divide becomes visible. Some will sense it and misunderstand. They may think you've changed, grown distant, or become self-righteous. But heaven sees the truth. You're not walking away from people. You're walking toward purpose. The cost of being chosen is being misunderstood by the comfortable. Don't resent it. Every true disciple walks this path. The line between the chosen and the convenient will grow clearer in this hour. You'll see it in how people handle correction, how they respond to conviction, how they treat the sacred. But do not let comparison harden your heart. The goal of separation is not superiority, it is surrender. You're not called to condemn, but to consecrate. This is the era of distinction, the time when heaven marks its remnant. You are part of that remnant, a people whose loyalty is not to trends but to truth, whose devotion cannot be bought, whose obedience does not depend on applause. This separation is heaven's sorting. It identifies those who can carry glory without turning it into gold. The Spirit says, do not resist the refining. Every soul that leaves, every opportunity that fades, every door that closes, it all serves divine clarity. The smaller your circle becomes, the sharper your focus grows. You are not losing support, you are gaining strength. The echo of others' voices fades so you can hear God's direction clearly. And when the separation feels lonely, remember you are never truly alone. Heaven fills every empty seat left by departure. Angels accompany obedience. Peace guards the pure. The Spirit Himself walks with those who dare to stand apart. The separation of the chosen is not the end of belonging. It is the beginning of becoming. You were not created to blend in. You were crafted to stand out. The mark of distinction upon you is not rejection by man, but recognition by heaven. You are no longer defined by who walks beside you, but by who walks within you. From the quiet fire of separation rises a radiant truth. The obedient remnant is awakening. Heaven has always kept a people hidden within the noise of nations. Hearts who refuse to bow to culture's confusion. You are one of them, chosen one. You are part of the few who still hear when the world no longer listens. And now, the time of rising has come. This rise is not about spectacle. It is about stewardship. The obedient remnant does not march with pride, they move with purpose. You can almost feel heaven breathing through them, like wind through embers. Their faith glows. Their words carry warmth. Their presence changes the atmosphere. When such souls gather, the unseen trembles, because unity forged in obedience becomes unstoppable. You look around and begin to see others like you, people refined through storms, purified by silence, made steady through surrender. They don't boast about survival. They testify through peace. These are the ones heaven is raising now, the torchbearers of truth, the carriers of compassion, the restorers of hope. This isn't a crowd, it's a company, small in number, immense in impact. The Spirit shows you a vision, a field of candles scattered across a vast darkness. Each flame alone seems small, but together they create dawn. That's what this remnant is, light multiplied through obedience. Heaven is not looking for celebrities. It is searching for carriers of fire. Those who burn quietly but brightly, refusing to be extinguished by ridicule or fear. As the Word of God declares in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. That's what you are now, a living city on a hill. When you like, when you share, when you speak these words forward, you are not boosting numbers. You are building brightness. Every interaction becomes a beam of light stretching further into the shadows. Heaven counts it as participation in prophecy. When you subscribe, you are anchoring yourself to the stream of revelation. You're saying, keep the fire flowing, keep the oil burning. This isn't about following content, it's about staying connected to current. Revelation is water, community is the riverbed. When both meet, nations are refreshed. And if your heart feels stirred to give, to donate, to sow, to fuel, do it as an act of worship. Giving is how you keep the fire alive. Think of it like tending a lamp. The flame doesn't survive without fresh oil. Your seed becomes that oil, poured in faith, ensuring that the message continues to glow across countless screens and hearts. It's not obligation, it's overflow. You're not paying for words, you're partnering with purpose. When you give, it's like placing wood on a divine altar. You're saying, let the fire keep burning even when I'm not there. And heaven always answers by multiplying what you release. Every gift, every act of sharing, every moment of engagement becomes a spark that ignites another life. Your simple like becomes a lantern. Your comment becomes a chorus. Your share becomes a bridge that carries truth into timelines that would never otherwise hear it. You're not just reacting. You're responding to destiny. The light that touched you is meant to travel through you. The Spirit whispers gently. Every act of generosity is a prophecy in motion. What you release today returns tomorrow, pressed down and running over. Heaven doesn't measure giving by wealth, it measures it by willingness. Some sow coins, some sow encouragement, some sow time, but all sow eternity. Pause for a moment and see this clearly. You are part of something larger than algorithms or applause. You are a stone in the foundation of a kingdom expression. Each time you engage, you strengthen the structure. Each time you share, you expand the reach. Each time you give, you fan the flame. Let your actions preach what words cannot. Let your digital footprint become a trail of faith that leads others home. You never know who might stumble across your light and find the courage to believe again. You never know whose midnight will meet morning because you refuse to hide your flame. And after you've listened, don't just scroll, speak. Leave a comment that breathes life. Tell your testimony, your gratitude, your agreement. Heaven reads it too. When you write, you are inscribing faith into the fabric of the moment. Your words become echoes of worship. This is how the obedient remnant rises, not with noise, but with nourishment. Every act of partnership is worship in motion. The world may never track it, but heaven records every click, every share, every seed. The flames you kindle today will one day become torches in the hands of those yet to come. So, beloved, rise as part of this living light. Walk in humility. Shine with purpose, and let your faith flow through your fingers. Like, share, give, comment, not for recognition, but for revelation. Because together, we are no longer scattered candles. We are the dawn. The revelation of reward begins to unfold not as a sudden windfall, but as a sunrise. At first, it appears quietly, softly brushing against your reality. Small signs appear: peace where anxiety once lived, laughter where silence once lingered, favor in places that once rejected you. These are the first rays of heaven's repayment. You realize the reward of obedience rarely arrives wrapped in gold, it arrives in grace. For so long, you carried obedience like a heavy cross. When you did what heaven required, even when it cost you comfort, reputation, and recognition. You gave without applause, forgave without closure, served without thanks. Yet heaven was watching, measuring, and storing every moment of sacrifice. Now those stored seeds begin to sprout. What you thought was buried is actually blooming. The reward does not always shout, it whispers. It shows up in divine ease, in the way things begin to align without your effort. People call it coincidence, but you recognize it as confirmation. God has stepped into your timeline, rewriting struggle into strategy, You feel it. What used to resist you now responds to you. That is the sign of divine recompense. Heaven does not repay as the world repays. The world rewards performance. Heaven rewards persistence. You endured when quitting looked logical, and that endurance has earned you favor. There are doors opening now that no resume could access, connections forming that no networking could manufacture. Grace is introducing you in rooms where your name was never spoken before. You begin to see that reward is not a transaction, it's a transformation. Heaven doesn't pay you back, it promotes you forward. The Father never gives you exactly what you lost. He gives you what you learned multiplied. Every heartbreak became a seed for greater compassion. Every tear became water for new authority. Every delay became fertilizer for divine acceleration. You were never losing, you were investing. As the Apostle Peter wrote in his first letter, chapter 5, verse 10, "And the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory, will himself restore you and make you strong." Those words are no longer distant comfort, they are living reality. Restoration is not coming, it has begun. Heaven is rebuilding what pain tried to destroy, not as a copy of the past, but as a cathedral of purpose. You are stronger, wiser, softer in spirit, but firmer in conviction. That is the mark of divine restoration. It doesn't return you to what was. It remakes you into what will never break again. You can sense that even creation is responding differently. Opportunities arrive without strain. Favor flows without explanation. Peace accompanies every step. You realize that what you once chased now finds you. That is the rhythm of reward when obedience becomes identity. Blessings pursue the faithful. The reward is not merely external, it is internal alignment. You no longer wrestle with confusion about who you are. You have seen God's consistency through every contradiction. You trust His timing even when you don't understand His method. That trust itself is the treasure. You have become unoffendable, unshakable, unafraid. You carry heaven's composure in a world that craves chaos. But even as the blessings increase, heaven whispers a gentle reminder: do not mistake reward for arrival. This is not the end, it is empowerment. God rewards you not so you can rest, but so you can reach further. Every gift is also a gateway to new responsibility. The crown of reward is also the call to greater stewardship. You begin to see how the balance of heaven works. The same God who gives abundance also guards humility. The same favor that opens doors demands discipline to walk through them. Reward without reverence becomes ruin. But you have been trained by waiting. You will not waste what heaven releases. The Father says, you are entering the era of visible vindication. The things once whispered against you will dissolve in the brightness of what I now do through you. Not because you sought justice, but because I am justice. This reward is not a trophy to hold, it is testimony to live. The reward is not a closing chapter, it is an opening gate. Through it, you step into new assignments, new authority, new alignment. Everything that once hurt you becomes fuel for everything that will now heal through you. This is the revelation of reward. The obedient are never empty-handed, only hidden until heaven decides it's time to display them. You are that display now, quiet, radiant, restored. Heaven's faithfulness draped around you like sunlight, proof that every yes was worth it. There is a sacred stillness that comes after fulfillment, the kind of quiet that feels alive, not empty. You sense it now, the deep exhale of heaven resting over your spirit. Everything makes sense, though not in a logical way. It's understanding that transcends explanation. The journey, the pain, the isolation, the obedience, the revelation, all of it converges here. You stand in the space of divine disclosure. God is ready to tell you everything. You were never walking blindly, you were being guided through mystery. Heaven reveals purpose only when the soul is strong enough to carry truth without pride. That strength has been formed in you through surrender. You are ready now, not because you've achieved perfection, but because you've embraced dependence. God can trust you with what others would mishandle, because you've proven that revelation won't ruin you, it will refine you. The Father speaks now, not from distance, but from within. This is why I chose you. Not because you were flawless, but because you were faithful. When others sought position, you sought presence. When many desired platform, you desired purity. I hid you not to punish you, but to protect what I was building inside you. Every delay was design. Every loss was leverage. Every silence was strategy. You were never forgotten, you were being prepared. Those words echo through the chambers of your heart, rearranging every memory of pain into purpose. Suddenly, the hardest seasons of your life start to glow with meaning. You see how even heartbreaks were harvests in disguise, how unanswered prayers were actually rerouted blessings. What once looked like brokenness now gleams as blueprint. You realize the divine story was never about avoidance of suffering, but transformation through it. The Spirit reveals that destiny is not a destination, it's a dialogue. Every chapter of your life was heaven speaking, each season another verse in the song of your becoming. What once confused you now connects. The divine narrative unfolds in reverse. You look back and finally see how perfect the imperfect path truly was. The steps, the detours, the heartbreaks, they weren't chaos. They were choreography. The Spirit brings to remembrance the ancient truth written in the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 15. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends. For everything that I learned from my Father I have made known to you. Those words settle upon you like oil. You realize what's happened. You have moved from servant to friend. You are no longer merely following commands. You are walking in communion. This is the moment heaven always intended, not just obedience, but intimacy. God does not merely use you, He confides in you. Friendship with the divine is the highest reward of faithfulness. In that revelation, you understand what everything truly means. It doesn't mean God reveals every detail of the future, it means He reveals His heart. And once you carry His heart, you no longer fear His mysteries. The need for control dissolves, the desire for closeness remains. You are no longer chasing understanding, you are resting in union. You look at your hands and realize they are no longer empty. They hold assignment, yes, but also anointing. They hold history, but also healing. You are not just a receiver of revelation. You are now a releaser of it. The light that once entered you as insight now leaves you as influence. That is what heaven means when it says, tell them everything. And yet, even in this final unveiling, humility anchors you. You know the more God reveals, the more you must rely on grace. True revelation never inflates, it humbles. You bow, not because you are small, but because you have seen something vast. The glory of understanding isn't pride, it's posture. You kneel because comprehension has become communion. You are the chosen one, but not the final one. Through your story, others will awaken. The light that now burns within you will ignite generations. Your obedience becomes their invitation. That is how divine revelation multiplies, not by holding secrets, but by living truth. Heaven closes the scroll with a final whisper. This is why I saw you obey. This is why I waited to tell you everything. Because now, when you speak, your words will not just inform, they will transform. You will not just teach, you will testify. You will not just reflect light, you will release it. You smile, not with triumph, but with peace. The journey was long, but the knowing is worth it. God has told you everything not through sentences, but through seasons. And you understand at last, revelation is not a story you read, it's a life you become. And now, chosen one, the scroll closes, but the story continues, written daily through your faith, your voice, your courage. You have heard heaven's heart, felt its fire, tabon, and walked its unfolding truth. What began as obedience has become revelation, and what began as silence now ends in sound. You are the living echo of everything spoken here. If this journey has stirred your spirit, let your light respond. Like as a mark of agreement, your digital amen. Share these words so the same fire that found you can find another wandering soul. Subscribe to stay within the current of revelation, so this divine voice keeps flowing through you. And before you go, comment your reflection, your gratitude, your testimony. When you write, heaven reads. Your words become part of this living tapestry of faith, woven through hearts across nations. You are no longer just a listener, you are a link in the chain of light. Carry this message forward not as content, but as calling. Shine, speak, stand. And remember, every time you act in faith, heaven writes another chapter in your name.